Hello everyone, this is Johannes.
And this is Sunniva.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And today we are taking a look at Ceres.
This is a new game from Artipia Games and designer Gustav Sundström.
It is on Kickstarter right now, and this is a prototype copy provided by the publisher.
Yes, so all the pictures and everything you will see is prototype components, just so you know that.
Yes.
As always, we don't know exactly what will be changed, what won't be changed, what might be changed, and something might be changed into banana. We don't know about that.
No,
it would be
it's
weird.
a mystery.
It would be very weird if it was. So, let's talk about this game. But first, if this is the first time you see us two weird Norwegian people talking about cardboard, is there something you can do that is great for us and for you and for everybody?
For everybody. It's a subscribe button down there. You can click it to subscribe. You can also press the bell to get notifications every time we post a new video.
Absolutely. So Ceres is a worker placement game set in space on Ceres, which I think we found out was one of the moons of Mars.
Oh, we found out that?
Yes, I think so. You were like looking at me like a question mark. We did Google it the first time we played it.
Yeah.
I think it's a moon of Mars because Mars is on the board and Ceres is on the board pretty close to Mars. So I would guess it's the moon of Mars. What you're doing in this game is that you are a corporation trying to build stuff and send out miming probes to a moon and asteroids. To asteroid belts. It's not a moon, it's Ceres the moon. And try to be the best corporation to get victory points in space. These are not just normal victory points, they're victory points in space. So as I said, it's a worker placement game. We're going to do a brief little overview for you watching this video, not for anybody else. If they're not watching this video, they will never see this overview. Crazy thought. Think about that. And you will be amazed. Okay, so it's a worker placement game. You have your leaders, which is your normal workers. They are small cylinders. Basically, they are kind of like CEOs going around on Ceres doing all of the big stuff, like the big picture stuff of the corporation.
Are they going around on Ceres?
I don't think they're going around like walking. They probably are just sitting in the chair saying, do this, do that. But they're placing them on stuff to do things and not actually driving around. But you also have workers in different colors that you can send to activate these different outpost facility cards that you have built. And the twist here for the worker placement is that all of these are a common pool. So I don't have like my set of workers, I have my set of CEO or leaders, but the common pool is of the colored outpost workers. Different colors: green, blue, yellow, green, blue, red, and gray. Yes, I know my colors. I can make a rainbow, blue, yellow, green, and green. Okay.
I don't think that's a very nice rainbow, but that's fine.
Blue, yellow, green, and green.
Yeah.
That's not a good rainbow or gray on the rainbow. But this game is not about rainbows. It's about unicorns. No, it's not. So yeah, and that is what you're gonna do. On your turn, you're gonna place either one of your leaders or one of the workers from the common pool and activate your actions. They can be to get resources, to upgrade some of your actions so that the next time you do them is better. You can build buildings. You can send these mining probes to the asteroids to mine resources and give you income. You can get some influence with the council so that you can do bonus actions there, and you can do missions and you can do some trading. Every round there's going to be a ship which has some trading on it, not training, and also some new of these outpost workers that's added to the common pool. And that is basically what you're doing in the game. You're going to play for 3 rounds, and the person after 3 rounds who has
the most points
is
the winner.
And that is how you play Ceres. So let's talk about all the other stuff.
Yes, artwork and these components in this game aren't finalized.
No.
But it looks like a standard game to me. It's not
like
really at all. Yeah, it looks like a sci-fi game. It's not really a lot of artwork in the game.
Nope.
But the symbols on the board, it's very clear. I like the little three-part wheel, which is the asteroids that you're sending the probes, mining probes to. Sometimes it's a little hard to see what's underneath them when you have built there, but that was easier than I first anticipated.
Yeah, because you can place them on the victory points on the planets, which you don't need to see.
Which you don't need anymore.
After you have placed your mining probe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. It's not too much to say because all these are prototype components and we don't know how much they will change throughout the campaign. The rulebook is kind of in the same boat. I don't have a physical rulebook. I only have a digital rulebook, and it is something like a 0.6 or 9, I don't remember, version of the rulebook, so it's still being worked on. I felt like the way the rulebook was set up made it awkward for me to learn the rules. I don't know how much they will change, but it was kind of it's mostly my brain, because I don't like, I like it for being, when I do this action, the action is explained, not that I have to look for that action symbol and then read what the action. It actually made sense there, because you can do the same action from many different
multiple spaces,
and different sources, but it made it kind of like, but probably because I have the rulebook on my iPad and I have to scroll to find that thing and then scroll back. It's easier when you have the rulebook to actually look through.
Absolutely.
There's no player rates in the prototype, but I talked to the publisher, and it sounded like they will be adding player rates to the Kickstarter campaign.
Yes.
Because they heard feedback for that when they did playtesting,
Oh, yeah.
which is good, because we want more player aids.
Thumbs up for player aids. We've played this game with 2 and 4 players. With 2 players, it took us about 70 minutes, and with 4 players, it took like 2.5 hours, approximately. I thought it was fun at both player accounts.
Yeah.
It was actually surprisingly tense with 2 players as well, because the board is scaled down, so you have fewer action spaces when you play with 2 players.
Yeah.
I thought the action selection in this game, especially for like 2 things actually, both drawing the common workers, but also placing your leaders. It's very exciting to see if my spot is still available and when it's my turn, and that was fun with both 2 and 4 players.
I also like the fact that you have some places that this is more gameplay basically, but that so putting more in gameplay, we can talk more about the spaces. So let's talk about the gameplay.
Yes.
And let's talk about the spaces. Let's just do a very good transition into that. As we said, they have the twist of the different workers that you use on your outpost. That's a shared pool. But the normal worker placement with the leaders is a pretty standard worker placement game. Like it's one of the actions lets you build buildings. One of them lets you do the trading and get some mission cards, which you can either fulfill at once, or you can basically pay influence to reserve them and finish them later on in the game. And then you have some actions where you can basically pay to do the same action that is already on the board. So it's basically when something is already filled up, you can use another place, but you have to pay something to be able to do it. I like that. And I also like that the council has different, you can use influence to be able to do actions that is not available. So there's kind of many ways to be able to do the action that you want. Still, especially with 4 players, I felt like these spots were contested enough. Like it felt like it was interesting decisions to know the timing of if I were to do this now, or do I really want to do this now? Like this, I would like to do it in this order, 1, 2, 3, but maybe I need to do 1 and 3 and then skip 2, even though it makes 3 worse. But because I don't know, so basically that is like most worker placement games. But this made it tense, and I agree that the 2-player game is interesting as well. So let's talk a bit more about the common pool of workers, because that's kind of the unique thing about this game.
Yes, I agree with you that the order that you do things in is very very interesting. This is one of the worker placement games that I really felt like the order that I do stuff in has a very high influence, but I very, very often did things in the and like not the best order to
not
say
optimized.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is also because the common pool of workers is limited, and you can choose like, okay, do I want to place a leader now, or do I want this green worker before somebody else grabs him? Because what kind of color meeples you need depend on what cards you have. You have 1 for each color that you start with. That is your like basic actions or outposts, you call them. But you can also buy more of these cards throughout the game. You can choose to place each card individually, or you can like melt to kind of together to boost boost a card that you already have, so that it becomes like a double action.
Pop quiz. There's a video game where somebody says, "I'm melting" when they die. If you know which one, it's a pretty obscure PC game. Let me know in the comments.
Okay, cool.
And we continue.
To the game. I don't know. Yeah.
The common pool, sorry.
Yes.
Our workers.
Common pool. So sometimes you can see, okay, what kind of workers are available this game. Maybe I will try to choose the colors that are matching so that I know that it's available.
Yeah, because in the beginning there's going to be one of each color per player, and then you're going to draw, like, put one of each color per player in your hand or in a bag or something and pull out. So there's going to be 4 on each ship, so there's going to be 12 or more, and then there's going to be 4 that's not in the game. So it can be very well balanced out, or it could be that there's no more of green, for example.
Yeah, and
so
that is also that's also scaled with less players. So
there's one per player.
Less workers when there's less players. But I also thought that the choosing of which cards that I'm going to add and how I see like the meeple market was interesting. Sometimes I didn't care about the color, I just like needed that action. Or sometimes I needed care more about the color and not about the action, so that I can be like, oh, now I at least have a red space that I can go to because there's so many red people. Then I can add in better action under that later.
One thing I felt, and this is actually one of the player games that when we played it was tighter and more tense in a 2-player game, the choosing of those colors. And I feel that depending on how you play, it's gonna feel like there's enough for everybody, or it's gonna feel like it's a really cutthroat. It really depends on how many buildings get built and how many of a specific color gets built. Because if everybody is playing nice, and everybody's seeing like, oh, there's 4 green maples and there is already built 4 buildings. I'm going to build something else then, so I know that I can activate my thing. That makes it more nice. So it's kind of player dependent how tense that will be. I enjoyed it more the time we played it with 2, when it was more tense and more like, okay, I know, oh no, you have 2 green, I have 2 green. Do I want to do that first so that I know I will get through of them, but then doing at first is really bad. But then I can also spend a leader to spend 2 money to move him to another spot, but that is worse. So it's kind of that balance I feel like was more interesting when we built more cards of a color than there was meeples for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that will happen in like both a 4-player and a 2-player game.
Yeah, depending on the players.
Yes, depending on the players. Absolutely. I think that I like both the balance with the leaders and the workers. The first time we played it with 4 players. I think also that is why it took 2.5 hours. I think you can get that
probably in 2 hours.
Playtime down, no problem. But first time we played it, I felt like, oh, in the beginning everybody's building themselves up, and in the end everybody's
trying to go for points.
Trying to go for points, and then sometimes we didn't really need those workers to just give us like a resource there or resource here if we didn't really need them for the points. But in the 2-player games that we played, I think that didn't have like that static gameplay. Did you feel the same way?
I feel the same way, and I really think it depends on the cards you bought. Because in the time we played 2 players, I felt like I had more actions on my cards than just resources. So I wanted to do that and do a super combo action where I first upgraded my launch action and then did the launch action and got an even better bonus. And all of these things are pretty nice. And I feel like it, so that is kind of, and let's talk a bit about it, because that is kind of the biggest change of the game. Because I feel we have played it 2 times, and those 2 times, like I feel like there's 3 main elements to the game. You have the buildings. You have the mining probes that you send to the asteroids. And you have the contracts, which has the different, which is scoring basically. And I feel like and this is only from 2 plays, so we haven't played the game 16 times, but I don't feel like I could play this 10 times and do something different each time.
I agree.
So it's not a game, and we're kind of segueing into Wait and Who Is It For, because it's not a game I feel like for people who want to do something completely different each time they play. Like some games have very different strategies. Oh, this time I'm going to go for this part of the game and ignore this part. I didn't feel like there was enough different things here, so you could ignore a part of the game and still, like, you could probably ignore the missions and go for the heavy planets. But I did feel like everything was contested when we played. Like, it was not like one player didn't go for mining or one player didn't go for this. Everybody wanted to mine because you get a lot of resources every round, and that is pretty good. And the resources then makes it easier for you to probe more and to get more cards and to do the missions. So everything kind of is linked together. So the differentiation, I feel like, of the place will be the interaction and the order of things and the way people build up their tableau. I feel that will change up the game. I don't feel like it'll change it up completely, but it's changing it enough for me to have fun in that puzzle, in the puzzle for that time it takes.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm unsure about the replay value here in regards to what you're saying. I think you're doing a lot of the same things every time, because I think that there is a lot of nice synergies between the strategies to go for. So I think really if you go for like just these basic planets that gives you just a lot of resources and less points, and then use those resources to get these points cards, is really like you have to choose if you want to spend go far on the planets which give you a lot of points, or gets points through the cards and contracts that you can buy. I think that it's not a good idea to play and ignore the boosting of the actions and upgrading those.
I think you could.
Those are really beneficent. But I also think that you could maybe not win this game without getting more action spaces, because then you're missing out on a lot of resources and potentially actions that your opponents then can get a lot of those meeples from the common pool.
So let's actually segue into Wait and Who Is It For. This is a medium game.
Yeah, I agree.
Right in the middle of medium. Like, it has too many rules to be a light medium game, and it's not like super heavy.
Yeah.
But it's a medium game, and I think it's for people who like worker placement games. Yeah. And for people who would like a little twist on the worker placement game, and adding a even more interaction. Because you interact by choosing those and the timing of the common pool of workers, it's what makes it feel different. It what makes it feel like a different kind of worker placement game. As we said, I don't think it's for people who want every single game to feel completely different. There are strategy games that do that, and many strategy games that doesn't do that. So it's not like a variable setup. It's not like the asteroids will be a different confirmation, but it's not like, oh, this time I get this energy. But depending on the resources you get, you can do different actions. So everything will change like tiny bits how you play, but it's not going to change completely the strategies. Is how we feel after our plays.
Yeah, I feel like it is like fun with the interactions with the other players and getting the timing right. And I think it's super fresh with the two different kind of workers that you have. I think that is super cool. It also has some abilities that you can buy with influence that are more powerful, that are kind of around like rule breakers. We didn't explore them fully.
No,
I think that in future plays I would focus on trying to utilize them more, because that sounded interesting as well.
Makes you bend the rules and be a little rule breaker.
Yes.
And I hope that this video, or we hope that this video gave you some information on Ceres and made you find out if this might be a game you want to check out on Kickstarter or not. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments. And that is it. If you are still here and you have not subscribed, you can do so now by
clicking the subscribe button. It's fun and it's free and makes us happy, like this. If you want to do something that's not free, you can
go to patreon.com/boardgamingramblings and support us there. And that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Johannes.
I'm Cinema.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye bye.